Welcome to Begin, Build, Blossom, your business journey with Clarita, the podcast where we will discuss valuable insights, resources, and motivation to fuel your entrepreneurial spirit. Let's build a supportive community together. Subscribe now to Begin, Build, Blossom, and let's embark on your business journey. Welcome to another episode of our podcast, Begin, Build, Blossom, Your Business Journey. Today we have with us Samanda René, who is a Brooklyn native. Samanda wears many hats. She is an attorney by day, and she's also a certified coach who started her own life coaching business called Loving the Journey. She also owns a chocolate business called Sam's Delights. Samanda and I met through a mutual friend, and she has shared so much information with me and invited me to events. So it's been so amazing knowing you, and I'm just so happy that you've made the time to come join us on the podcast today. Welcome, Samanda.
Thank you for having me here. Very excited.
Yes, I'm excited to have you as well. So, as we all know, the podcast will be working through your journey in different segments. We're going to have the begin segment, followed by the build segment, and then the blossoming segment. But before we get started with all of that, let's just find out from you one word that describes you now and one word that described you as a child.
A word that can describe me as a child would be shy. I was very shy. I was very quiet. Right now, I would say intentional.
Intentional. I love that. Shy, intentional. Thank you for sharing that with us. Before we get into the begin segment, we're going to do something we call rapid fire. We will ask you a few questions to get to know you better. And we're looking for quick responses. But as I always say, if you feel the need to expand on anything, please go ahead and do so. So, first of all, we covered that in the intro, but we're going to ask you anyway. Let's hear it from you directly. What is the name of your business or businesses, and what do you do in business?
The name of my businesses, one is Sam's Delights, and that's a chocolate business that I have in which I cater dessert tables for parties or create baskets or any gifts that people would want. And I'm also the owner of Loving the Journey, which is a life coaching business where I help people become their best versions, specifically helping them deal with anxiety and frustrations and overwhelm in life.
Thanks for sharing that with us. And I guess going forward, we will focus on your life coaching business because I know you talked about that and we figured that would be the focus for today. But feel free to tell us about both businesses anytime you'd like throughout our conversation. How long have you been in business?
In August, we'll make 2 years, officially 2 years for the life coaching business.
Nice. Congratulations. Two
Thank
years.
you.
That's great. Yes, that's quite an accomplishment.
Thank you.
And we said that you're an attorney by day. So that I take it you're doing your business part time. So can you tell us a little bit more about what you do on a in your day job?
I've been an attorney for almost 18 years, and I've been dealing with discovery. Ideally, is I would love to be doing the life coaching full time, but for right now, the best thing for me is doing the life coaching business on the side.
Okay, well, thanks for sharing that. And as a life coach, what would you say is one of your highest highs or one of the best things about your business so far?
It would be about helping people. Like if I'm in the middle of a client session and seeing the light bulb go off in somebody or having them having discovery within themselves, that's always the best part for me.
Oh, I love that. And on the opposite side of that, what is one of the lowest lows you've experienced in business so far?
I think it's been trying to reach more people. It's been trying to get more clients. As a startup business, it takes some time sometimes to get out there and get the clients that you're trying to reach. So that's been the low would be that.
Yeah, certainly. I can certainly relate for sure. And is there a book that you'd recommend that we read, or maybe even a movie that you think we should watch?
The book I would recommend is Do the New You by Stephen Furtick. Faith has been very important to me in my life. And so the book has a tremendous impact as far as looking at myself within and seeing what God had intended me to be and for me to try to live up to that.
Oh, thank you for sharing that with us. I will definitely look up that book. I know I say that all the time, but really, I am putting together a list of books because you've read many books, I'm sure. And if you point out that book as the one that I should read, I think that says something. So I am putting together a list, and maybe one day I will come and maybe I'll have an episode talking about all those books that I have been able to read because of wonderful guests like yourself.
I would love to hear your list also.
All right. Yes, I just may share that actually. I'll go ahead and maybe put together a list of what guests recommend, and maybe everybody can read along with me. That would be great. Thanks for that suggestion. So we'll now move on to the begin segment. Can you tell us when was the first time you actually thought about starting a business?
It was during the pandemic. I knew that I wanted something different in my life and I wanted a change and I knew I wanted to help people. And so that was the time that I said, you know what am I good at? I'm good at holding space and listening to people. And that was one of the first times, probably like 3 years ago or so. And so then I started making changes in my life to go towards that direction, becoming a life coach.
Oh, great. Thanks for sharing that. And is there anything in your upbringing that you can think of that has brought you to where you are today? I mean, I know that our life is made up of all those experiences along the way. But when you look back, can you think of one moment that kind of correlates to where you're at today in business?
I think it would be never giving up from growing up, always going after trying to do better and trying to follow the dreams that I want. And if at a point in my life that I wanted to change, then I did that, especially in the
Mm.
past few years. So if there was something I wanted, I went after it and then I decided to keep going.
Mm. So it sounds like pivoting is nothing new or scary to you. When you feel the need to pivot, you go ahead and do so.
I pivoted a lot. Yes.
Mm.
From being an attorney to stepping out to going back to school. I've actually decided during the pandemic to go back to school, and then I got my associate in mental health, and then pivoting and starting my other business, and knowing that what I'm doing right now is what I was meant to do. Is meant to help people. I was meant to help people, and this was the perfect pivot for me.
Great, great. And when you decided that you wanted to start the life coach business, what were the steps that you took from that idea to now actually doing it?
I signed up for a course so I can become a certified life coach. That was mainly the biggest step to just saying I wanted to do it and searching out the best course for me and then going out and doing it, meeting new people and getting different connection, making new connections with different people. So that was the best thing that for me for the life coaching business is the connections made.
Okay. And in terms of maybe registering the, like on the legal side of things or the business side, in terms of actually registering the business, maybe starting an account, are there any of those steps you'd like to highlight as well?
Okay, yes, like deciding on the name. So doing the name searches and becoming an efficient LLC, or also open up the bank account and all the things that people say, the little things, but it's the big things that makes you officially the business. So those are the big things, and creating a website and getting help with that.
Okay, great. And we talked about the name. So maybe we can zone in on the name. How did you come up with your name and how did you know it was the right name for your business?
When I was trying to figure out the name for my coaching business, Loving the Journey popped into my head. And during my life at that point, it was the perfect name because in life we go to up and downs, but no matter what, you get to where you are right now, going through those up and downs. And so throughout that
Hmm.
journey, I had to love it because no matter what it was, it brought me to where I was at this present time. And you have to love it. You have to love all of the good, the bad, and the ugly because it brings you to where you are and where you want to be.
And that, for some reason, brings up perspective for me. Like, loving your journey, that says a lot about just the attitude you bring to it. Because our journey, it's up and down. It's not always good, but yet you love in your journey because you understand that that takes you to where you are today. So that's beautiful. And I like that way of thinking of things. And how did you go about getting your first client?
The first client was actually someone that I knew. And when they found out I was a life coach, they contacted me and they said they wanted to hire me. And that was it. I was just like, wow.
Oh, wow.
So starting out and somebody trusting me enough that's saying, okay, I know you and I trust you. That was how the first client.
That's great, because sometimes the people we are close to are not always the first ones to support us. So for you to get someone who knows you to actually reach out and say, I want to hire you, that says a lot about what you have to offer, the person that you are, because that person knows you and they want to work with you on such an important thing in their life. One question I have on that is, how did that person know that you were doing that work? Because sometimes we also do not tell our closest network. For some reason, we don't tell them, I'm in business and this is what I'm doing. So tell us a little bit about that.
Once I decided to go back to school and go back to get my certification, I would share that with people. And people, I've had the best support from people. And many people said that this was perfect for me because I'm normally listening to people and I'm holding space for people. So many people is just like, this is perfect for you. So for many people that knew me and then later on say, okay, yeah, this is the right thing for you.
Yeah, it sounds like they were wondering why you hadn't done this sooner. This is where you're meant to be. That is quite an affirmation. So that's great. And that takes us to the building segment. You had that first client. How did you go about getting even more clients, to work with you?
It's not easy, as you know. It's hard building the clientele, but trying to just get out there more and meeting people and people wanting to an opportunity to get better within themselves and they reach out. So networking, and also when I held my retreat, people signed up for that. I held my first retreat in Greece September of last year, and so people signed up for it they wanted to participate.
I want to as well. So I will be joining you on one of those. I've told you that already. Yeah. So I want to us to talk a little bit more about two things you mentioned: your retreat, one, and two, networking. So if we can start with networking, what does networking look like for you, and how did that change over the years from having your 9 to 5 job and now actually being a business owner? I'm thinking that kind of changes how you network a little bit. So if you can just tell us a little bit more about that.
9 to 5 job is it's hard to try to balance everything, but I would always try to, if there's something after work that I can go to, or if there's something on the weekend that interests me, and just meeting new people, which I think is very important because sometimes we have our circle, but then we need to expand that. And for me personally, it's been through even my other business, through networking, that I've met a lot of people. And from those people, I've met more people. So you just keep building the network. So to me, networking is important. It's not just going to an event, but also what can I get from it and what can I give back to it. And maybe there's been times I met people that maybe they may not be something that I'm looking for, but I might be talking to you, Clarita, and then like, oh, you're looking for so and so. I'd be like, wait a minute, I met somebody at an event that I went to, and pass along that information.
Yes, that's the real power of networking there for sure. Can you tell me a little bit more about your retreats?
I held my first retreat in September 23 in Greece, in Naxos, Greece. It was the first one that I've held. I always knew when I started doing the coaching that I wanted to do retreats. I love to travel, and I always felt like when you move away from your day to day environment, you're open to growth and you're open to new experiences and new perspectives. So I always wanted to, and I wanted that to be part of my business. And the first retreat went really well. There were five of us all together on the first retreat, and the next retreat is less than a month away. Next month, we are going back to the same place, and super excited for that retreat.
Great. I have seen photos and it looks so beautiful, the place that you host the retreats. Can you tell us like if somebody were to join you on a retreat, what can they expect?
They can expect to an experience. That's how I like to. It's not just vacation. From the minute the participant gets there, I want them to feel seen, to feel heard, to know that they're loved on purpose just for being there, to know that it's an open and safe space for them. So that's one of the main things that I want people to get from the retreat, but at the same time, for them the opportunity to rest when they need to, but also to grow. And there's different workshops and activities that we do throughout the retreat that aims in making a transformative journey for them.
So, in terms of the boldest move you've made since starting your business, what would you say that is?
The boldest move would be during the retreat. I planned my first retreat in less than a year from when I first started. I said, why not? Why wait? And so I said, do it. I just decided, you know what, just do it. And that was one of the best decisions I made, to just decide to do it. And it was scary, but I definitely have no regrets in planning and hosting my first retreat last year. And then hosting the second one in less than a year after that one.
Okay. To plan a retreat, I know takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. Do you do all of this on your own or do you have a team that you work with?
I do most of it on my own. I do the research. I plan everything, reach out to people. Let's see, the Greece one, I reached out to different people in Greece to figure out how they can be part of the retreat. Like the last retreat, we had a yoga instructor come to the villa we were at. So I was in touch with them beforehand, in touch with the manager as far as planning the meals. So it takes a lot of time and effort in trying to plan to make sure that the experience I want to give to the participants is what they get.
Okay. What made you decide to choose Greece? What about Greece made you decide I'm going to Greece for the first retreat and now the second retreat?
The first retreat, I did research. I looked at different places, and I knew the type of retreat I wanted to have. I wanted a quiet and laid back place, and I knew I wanted to go overseas. And so I was just doing my research and different Greek islands, because I've had heard many great things about Greece, and I was just trying to figure out which island I wanted to go to. And Naxos is in between Santorini, and it's in between Mykonos, the party alliance that most people know. But I was like, that's not what I wanted for the retreat. And so once I saw that one, and I did a lot of research and spoke to different people, I have a few of my Greek friends, and they said that island was beautiful. And so that's all that.
It sounds like such an amazing experience. Wow. And beautiful, like I said earlier. I know I've said it, but beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Let's touch a little bit on the struggles that comes with running a business. Can you maybe tell us what some of those look like for you?
Getting clients, that's always a
Mm-hmm.
struggle. The struggle also was when I decided to run the first retreat, at one point there was only one person who had signed up, and going to, okay, can I go to the retreat with one person? What am I going to do? Will I have to reschedule it? But then I had to let go of what I wanted to happen, and just
Mm-hmm.
let go, and just let it happen. And
Wow.
after that, then all of a sudden I had a few more people sign up after that, and the retreat happened.
Wow, wow, wow. We've talked about that before where sometimes, yeah, the letting go part is difficult to do.
Very difficult.
But you saw the results because you had a that's just me listening to you. I'm thinking you've done everything you can possibly do.
Yeah.
You've done your work. and there's one person. How do you get those people, other people? You let go because you've done the work. Wow.
And if it was meant to be, it's gonna happen. And if it's not this time, then I would deal with whatever, if I had to reschedule or whatever the
Mm-hmm.
situation would be.
And how do you deal with the fear that comes with letting go? Because, oh, maybe there is, like, how does that work? Because I'm thinking it's like I would be fearful at first, and I would be concerned and all of that, and then to get to the point where I'm gonna let it go and see what, and just just let it happen. The universe will do what it's gonna do. Like, how do you get to that point?
Like I said, letting go, and like I mentioned before, my faith. So I said, if God wants this to happen right now, it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna happen. So it was like you said, it's not easy. I of course want this to happen. I planned it, I put in the work,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes it's not the right time. And so I was starting to just release that,
Wow.
release what is not in my hands anymore.
Right, right. Oh, thanks for sharing that. And you said faith. I think for me that kind of creates a bit of a connection there for me. That faith plays a big, big role. So, let's move on to the blossoming stage. And if you can just tell us a little bit about what success means to you.
Success means that I'm happy doing what I'm doing. It means that in my life that I'm helping people and I'm making a difference in their lives.
Great. Would you say right now you are successful in business?
Yes, because I've certain people that I've spoken to, certain
Mm-hmm.
aha moments people have had.
Right.
I don't need to change a million lives, but if I change somebody's lives by having that connection with them, then they in turn can keep going down the line and changing their lives and changing somebody else's life. So there's like a ripple effect.
Yeah, that's great, great. And I think it's so important for us to define for ourselves what success means
Hmm.
and to kind of use that rather than what other people may think success is.
I agree with you.
Yeah, so thanks. And I know you work a day job alongside two other businesses. So how do you balance all of it?
It's hard. It's very difficult, but family and friends is very important to me. And so I make sure that no matter what's going on in my life, if there's a family function or a get together with friends, that I try to attend, to make the time to hang out with them or to attend, because that's very important to me.
Okay. Yes, I agree. Yeah. It's so so important to me as well. So I totally relate. And when it comes to personal development or even business development, I mentioned earlier that you share a lot of those events going on, and you just share so much resources. How do you go about, being in the know like this so that maybe somebody who's looking to get into business themselves can start connecting the dots and try to get involved in different organizations that might be helpful to them? So maybe you can tell us how you did that, or you continue to do that.
Networking, again, that people might mention something and then I'll go look into it. Being on social media, also being on LinkedIn, sometimes somebody might mention something or seeing something on Instagram or Facebook, and I'll go look into it more. And then I always feel like if it's something that might be beneficial to me, it might be beneficial to somebody else. So I always feel the need to share. And if somebody has an interest in it also, then they can attend or they could look further into it. So I also feel like people have shared with me. So I also want to share with other people.
Okay, well, thank you for sharing. I always look forward to see what you have coming down the pipeline. I always look out for that. So thank you so much. I've been having a lot of fun, but we have come to our closeout section. And here I like to ask if you can share at least three practical tips that someone listening to you right now can use to actually start their own journey or maybe continue a journey that they've started.
I would say do what you love. When you like what you're doing, it's easier. It's a lot easier to go through the struggle because you know at the end it's something that you enjoy doing and that you love. I would also take time to evaluate your life and figure out like what steps can you do to better whatever direction you want to go in your business or personal life, whatever direction you want to do. Basically, take inventory of where you are and where you want to be in your life and what steps you can do. Because for me, for a while, I didn't take inventory and I was just going through the daily day and just like on autopilot. So I really feel it's important to stop and really look into yourself for that. And I would also say ask for help when you need it, because there's many things that I am not good at, creating a website or different things, and I really reached out to people who were better at those things than I.
Great. And listening to you, I'm thinking, if I am trying to figure out what I love or take inventory, evaluate, what's going on in my life, and I feel like I would come to someone like you to do that. So you're like the perfect person as a life coach to help me do something like that. So if I am out here trying to figure it out, I've had an idea that I've been wanting to, get done, but I just have not figured it out. Coming to sit with you, having a session with you would probably help so much. I hope that's a takeaway for some people and that they know that you're available. So if there is someone listening out there right now who would like to take advantage of your services, is it that you do you provide some kind of get to know you call or an introductory call, or is there anything like that that you do before you go full into like becoming a client?
Yes, I offer everybody a complimentary session. You could check out my website, lovingthejourney.co, to set that up, or you could reach out to me on social media, Loving the Journey one on Instagram, or also Sam at lovingthejourney.com.
Thanks so much for sharing that with us. And one of the things we do with the podcast is to build community. So we connect persons like yourself, guests on this show, with listeners out there. So we would like to ask if you would be open to providing like 30-minute one-on-one discussion. So I know just now we talked about someone can reach out to you, to work with you as a life coach, but I'm just also wondering in terms of somebody wanting to talk to you about how you started your business or just business in general. Is that something you'd be willing to do to meet with them on a one-on-one basis?
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for being so generous with your time. And if you don't mind again telling us how we can get in touch with you or your social media handles. I know you mentioned it earlier, but I want to make sure we get that. So if you can just tell us again, that would be great. Thanks.
On Instagram, it's Loving the Journey one, and my website is lovingthejourney.co. Those are the best places to reach me. I'm also on LinkedIn, Samanda René, and also on Facebook, Loving the Journey.
Okay, great. Thanks for sharing that with us. I will also make sure to include that in the show notes. So, is there anything that you think you would like to add that maybe I didn't get a chance to ask you?
I want to stress again about doing what you love. I know that once I decided to look at myself and figure out like what I wanted to do with my life, for me, that just changed the trajectory of my life, and I was
Hmm.
able to make a lot of changes, and a lot of
Hmm.
things started to fall into place after that. So I would definitely say take inventory and choose you.
Choose you. That is so important. Choose you. A lot of times we don't do that. And especially as women, we put everybody else before ourselves. So when somebody says to you, remember you, wow, that took me back a little bit. So just tell us a little bit more about that.
Like you just said, we tend to put everybody else first. And if somebody would ask me things that I needed to do or wanted to do, I probably would list everything for other people. And then at the bottom, if I was even on the list, if I even made it to the list. But I've learned over the years that I have to put myself first. I have to look in myself and see what do I want. And then from there flows everything else. I have to make myself happy. I have to decide what's best for me. And that includes so many different things. That includes boundaries, that includes accountability also with myself and other people. So to me, making yourself a priority is self love. And it's the best type of self love that could be.
Wow. And what about the guilt that comes with making yourself a priority? Because there are so many things to do, and I guess fingers are being pointed, but you're not pointing the finger at yourself. So that's fine. That can stay undone. But when you actually decide to take time out and do something for yourself, for me, for instance, when I take a nap, when I even just go to get my nails done, or just simple things that those things are represents self love. But when I take the time to do that, I just remind myself of all the things I am not doing. So how do I deal with that guilt?
When you think about it, where did that guilt come from? If you're taking care of everybody else, when are you going to take care of yourself? Because if I'm the best person from taking care of myself, then other people will get the best version of me. So I'm able to give more to people after I fill myself up too. Like when people say fill your cup first, that doesn't mean you're neglecting other people or you're forgetting about other people, but you're remembering about yourself and putting yourself first.
Yeah, because I guess like I'm thinking about this. I'm listening to you and I'm thinking about this through like my daughter's eyes. And I have a 4 year old and I'm thinking when I am doing things for or with her, but I'm tired, I'm stressed, I have all these things on my mind. Yes, I'm spending time with her or like I'm here, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really present.
Yeah.
And the version of me she's getting is the tired
Mm-hmm.
version, the frustrated version. It's actually come to a point where she says, "Mom, are you frustrated?" She says she calls me mama. She said, "Are you frustrated?" And I'm like, I would say yes, I am. And then I would remember, okay, this is what she's seeing. So I kind of explain it to her. She's 4, but she understands quite a bit. So we kind of have a discussion about it. So listening to you makes me really take inventory here and realize that yes, when I do those things for myself, I'm also doing it for her. I'm doing it for those people that I'm around. A better me, better them. So that does work well together. Oh, you have me really thinking here. Yeah. And if you just one more question here, for persons like myself who I'm still learning self-love. Well, I think I no, I love myself, but self-care and actually showing myself that love. For someone like me who's working on that, I'm not quite there yet. I don't know if I'll ever get there, but I have a lot of work to do. So how can someone like you help me to achieve balance and to achieve all that, like to help me do all that work that I need to do for myself?
When you just mentioned something, it just came to mind. You're loving the journey. It's a journey. It's an everyday journey, everyday choices that you make. And again, I would use the word inventory or audit or looking at yourself, looking at what you want, and then seeing what's priority. Like maybe doing one thing is on your list to do, but is it a priority that needs to get done right now? Maybe you could spend more time on what you really want to do or what really matters to you. So it's basically, I would help you look at everything that's going on in your life and what you want to accomplish and figuring out from everything you listed what means the most to you. And then we focus on like what can you do in order to get what you want. It doesn't mean the rest of the list doesn't matter. There's just
Mhm.
certain things that matter more to you. And sometimes we don't sit down and actually look. We just do. But if you really sit down, maybe there's something that matters more to you that you might need to spend a little more time to focus on.
That makes sense. And if my response though is I feel like I'm doing that. I feel like I am trying to make things a priority. Why do I need somebody else to help me do that? Like what would you tell me in response to that like comeback?
I would say that we all need somebody to listen to or somebody to list or help you get to where you want. I give you an example. Somebody, a client that I had, didn't know what, or they thought they knew what they were doing. And so we had a session and we were going through, just have conversation. And I was taking notes down. And at the end of the conversation, the session, I was telling the person, okay, so you mentioned all this, but without actually sitting down with me, they would not have realized that they had thought about all these different type of things. Because sometimes we have things that we think about, but without writing it down or talking to some other people, it just stays in the head, or it doesn't get expanded more on. So sometimes you just need the space to share, and then maybe being asked the right question that might open you up a little bit more.
Yeah, and to have somebody actually help you through it,
Hmm.
keep you accountable,
Yeah,
help you recognize the places you are improving, because we can be so hard on ourselves sometimes.
definitely.
So listening to you, I'm thinking, yeah, those are all those things I could certainly use help with.
Yeah,
Even though I think I'm doing a good job, I'm sure I can use some help to do better. Because the sense of frustration that I feel sometimes, I feel like with additional help, that would help relieve, like somebody to help me carry that load and help me along. And I think you would be such a good person to help me do that.
I would love to.
Yes, thank you so much. We'll definitely be in touch. And I just hope those listening also consider that and see how having somebody come in and help them could be very beneficial, and at least give you a call. Just talk through it, no commitment. I'm sure you can just have that first conversation and see where it goes.
Definitely.
Thanks so much for sharing so much with us. And as you continue to build and to grow in business, I would love to have you on here again. So have a good day, and I look forward to speaking with you again.
Thank you. Thank you, Clarita.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Begin, Build, Blossom Your Business Journey, a CME Accounting LLC podcast. Please subscribe and be on the lookout for our next episode. If you'd like to share any feedback with us, please email us at podcast@cmeaccountingllc.com.